Hi, everyone. I'm Vincent Joe.
Hi, I'm Kathy Reed.
And I'm Allison Reed.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
Hi, I'm Grace.
We're from the Haydenettes.
I am Mark Henretti.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Rebecca Ghirardi
e Filippo Ambrosini
e vi diamo il benvenuto a
This Week in Skating.
Welcome to This Week in Skating, the weekly podcast bringing you the latest news from the world of figure skating. Here are your hosts, Daphne, Gina, and Matteo.
And we're back. It's exciting. Today you'll get 2 episodes from us. One, a recap of the Grand Prix de France that we did with Daphne and Matteo. And this episode, which is our scheduled weekly episode. Before we jump into this week's news, I want to share that Janine E. on Spotify pointed out that our results that we read for the 2025 Blackburn Open Solo Dance International were actually from 2024, so I wanted to mention the corrected results. The winner in the senior event, Lou Theroux of France, you may remember, she skated with Noah Perrin from France, and so this is her first foray into the international solo dance scene. Natasha Griffin won the silver, and Alana Pang won the bronze. They're both from Great Britain. And also of note, Emma Kaviola of Sweden, who competed in partner dance for Sweden until last season, finished in 4th place. In the junior event, Eleanor Gabet of France finished first, followed by Anna Maria Kislitzin of Great Britain and Agata Tornada of France.
Thank you, Daphne. I know that it's a mistake, probably quite relevant, one would say, but as we say quite often, we got very busy lives. We try to squeeze everything in, and of course, this is the peak of the season. Grand Prix are back to back. We do our best. Sometimes we cross-check things, but even when someone else checks them, something is missed. So apologies for that. And also, I want to apologize because my voice is not that great today. I have a little sore throat that I'm dealing with. So if I sound a bit metallic here and there, that's the reason. I would blame my microphone, but that would be a lie. It's just me.
It's getting to be that time of year where we end up getting sick. So take care of yourself, Matteo.
Will do.
It's important to do that. So you may notice it's just Matteo and I on this episode. So we're bringing you the news. Under general skating news, Luca Brasa has withdrawn from Finlandia Trophy and has been replaced by Steven Gogolev of Canada. Also, Kimi Rapond has withdrawn from Cup of China and NHK Trophy due to a foot injury she's been dealing with since January. She just recently returned to the ice. She is replaced at Cup of China by Anna Pizzetta and Livia Kaiser at NHK Trophy.
We have another withdrawal. That's Nina Pinzarone of Belgium. She withdrew from Skate Canada and NHK Trophy. She said she's giving her body time to recover from injuries and prepare for what's ahead, especially the Olympics. On the other side, Tomoki Hiwatashi has been assigned to Cup of China. He replaces Camden Pulkkinen, who withdrew from the event last week due to an ongoing back injury.
The Skating School of Switzerland has posted that after 9 years in Champéry, Denis Vasiliev has decided to make a change and that he's left the Skating School of Switzerland and Stéphane Lambiel as his coach. Denis does compete this week of Cup of China, so we'll have to see if he'll be there by himself or if he'll have a coach with him.
That is actually quite a big change, isn't it? Quite
it's
curious
huge.
to see what happens next.
Yeah, me too. I know the fans have been incredibly supportive of him on social media. So I'm sure Denis will share his plans with us when he's ready.
Moving on, journalist Laurie Ward has created a Substack account where she will deliver in-depth investigative stories from inside the world of figure skating and other elite sports. Her first report was on the civil lawsuit against the French Federation filed by the sexual abuse survivor in the Morgan Cyprus case. We are going to add a link to that in our show notes.
NBC Sports and U.S. Figure Skating announced the 2025-26 television schedule. Peacock will stream live all of the Grand Prix events, the U.S. Figure Skating Championships, 4 continents, the European Championships, and the World Championships. No mention was made of how long these events will be available on demand. The events will be broadcast on television on a mix of channels including NBC, E, and USA. It's worth mentioning World Junior Championships is not on this list because they'll be streamed on YouTube, on the ISU YouTube channel. At least that's what I'm assuming, because they usually are.
A Finnish news outlet published an article stating that Julia Turkila and Matthias Versuris had to withdraw from Nepla Trophy and Trophée Metropole due to a leg nerve injury for Matthias. They are hoping to start their season at Skate Canada.
Ice Theatre of New York's Will Sears Award honoree, Shaylin Bourne, will perform in the company's Fall Frolic performance on October 30th. Caitlin Weaver will present the award to Shaylin at the party following the performance.
Our friend Alex Benoit appeared in an episode of Chicago PD last week. The episode aired on Wednesday on NBC, but you can still see the episode on Peacock. Alex will be starring as Tony in West Side Story at Casa Mañana in Fort Worth, Texas, November 1st to the 9th.
I told Gina that I wish that the U.S. Ice Dance Final was in Texas during that time, but it's not in Texas this year. It's in Henderson, Nevada. I really wish it was in Texas so I could go, because I'd love to go and see Alex. Nulo Pet Food was named the official pet food partner of U.S. Figure Skating. They will have a presence at marquee events and at the 2026 U.S. Championships. Nulo will introduce a dedicated pet therapy area for athletes to engage with therapy dogs. I think that's such a great idea. So moving on to event coverage and results, we already mentioned that the Grand Prix de France is covered in a separate episode. That will be dropping at noon Eastern time today, so check that out. At the Mezzaluna Cup 2025 in Italy, senior dance was won by Yuka Orihara and Juho Parinen, with silver going to Julia Paulino and Andrea Tuba, and bronze to Amy Shui and Jonathan Rogers. The junior dance event was won by Hannah Maria Aboyan and Daniel Veselukin. The silver went to Zoe Bianchi and Daniel Basile, and the bronze went to Ariana Soldati and Nicholas Tagliabue. We will have links to other events in our show notes.
Right, then we are ready to preview the second Grand Prix. The second of 6. They're already flying by, I'm feeling.
They are. Before you know it, it's going to be Christmas. We'll have been through the final, and we'll be talking about who's going to make the Olympic team.
But I have to admit, this is the best time of the season for me. I love the Grand Prix so much. So let's talk about Grand Prix of China, which is going to be in Chongqing, China again, as last year. Starting with the men, world silver medalist Mikhail Shidorov will be the favorite for gold. Zhu Wancha withdrew from his last challenger event after the short program. Shun Sato and Sotasa Yamamoto are looking to make their case for the Japanese Olympic team. Also there, as we said, Denis Vasiliev. He will be competing for the first time since leaving his long-time training base. We're also going to see Tomoki Iwatashi and Jacob Sanchez that will try to add to their body of work for the U.S. Olympic team selection.
In the women's event, Amber Glenn and Alyssa Liu of the U.S. will face off in an early preview of what the U.S. Championships could look like. A trio of women will try to continue Japan's podium success: Rino Matsuyuki, Rinka Watanabe, and Hana Yoshida. Jia Shim will look to rebound from her 7th place in France. Joining her from Team Korea is Hyein Lee. And Anastasia Gubanova is coming off a 1st and 2nd place in her last 2 events.
In the pairs, the biggest story of the event is the return of Wang Jingsui and Kong Han. They haven't competed since they won gold at the 2022 Olympics game, so let's see what happens there. Anastasia Metelkin and Luca Berulava and Sara Conti and Nicola Machi both won their last events by a large margin, so they will be there as well, competing at this very strong pairs field, I would say, in China.
Yeah.
We also have the other 2 pairs team of Italy, so Lucrezia Beccari and Matteo Gorise and Rebecca Chilardi and Filippo Ambrosini. They're battling for a spot on Italy's Olympics team, so it's quite an important event for them to start this battle. And lastly, Katie McBeath and Daniel Parkman are competing for the 2nd week in a row, coming off a 4th place finish in France.
In ice dance, 3-time world champions, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates of the U.S., are headliners and are making their season debut. Olivia Smart and Tim Deek won their challenger event and are strong contenders for the podium. A duo of teams from the U.S., Caroline Green and Michael Parsons, and Amalia Zingis and Vadim Kolesnik, are also contending for the podium while battling for a spot on the U.S. Olympic team. Evgenia Lapareva and Jeffrey Brousseau are looking for a medal after a disappointing 4th place finish at their challenger event.
Other events that are taking place this week are Gordian Cup 2025 in Turkey, 2025 Swiss Ice Skating Open in Switzerland, 2025 Golden Bear in Croatia, 2025 Japanese Eastern Sectionals and Pairs Preliminaries in Japan, 2025-26 Skate Manitoba Junior and Senior Sectionals in Manitoba, and World Inclusive Skating Championships 2025 in London, Great Britain, which I was hoping to be able to attend, but unfortunately it's during working hours and I don't have any annual leave left, given the very busy season we have.
That's how I feel too. I would love to go to more competitions. There's just no time left to do it.
Yep.
So, on October 15th, Canadian ice dancer Peter Beaumont announced a new partnership with Amanda Urban, a former solo dancer from the US, and they will be representing Canada. So best wishes on that new partnership.
Other online updates from last week, Solène Mazing and Geoffrey Brissot have started a new podcast, So and Joe. The first episode dropped last week and can be found on Solène's YouTube channel.
I need to check that out. I had no idea until I went in and looked at the notes for this episode, and yeah, I need to check that out. I'm sure it's going to be interesting.
I have to say the videos that I've seen so far are in French. So I'm not sure whether they will do an English version as well, but what I've heard so far, it's very interesting. So they start by interviewing each other and then they're thinking of bringing guests on the podcast. But let's see what I can do, because the first conversation was already quite interesting with a few interesting points.
Excellent. Moving on to featured articles and interviews. As always, we have a number of articles here, but we're only going to mention 2. We're sharing a podcast interview with Maxim Naumov. He appeared on the Iron Butterfly podcast on October 14th. And then Ink on Blades, the Making of an Olympic Skate Program, Episode 1, is an article on Olympics.com.
Right. So we got to the end of the episode already. Quite a quick one, because as we said, we had another episode with a separate Grand Prix de France recap with Solène and Matteo. But talking about updates of each individual media that we represent, this week in skating, we are in the process of finding a new vendor for our store, so stay tuned. And as always, you can join our Patreon for access to ad-free episodes.
Over at IDC, I have photos from Japan Novice Nationals. I have photos from Grand Prix de France. The recap is coming. And check out Matteo's preview for Cup of China, which will be coming later this week.
And lastly, Figure Skaters Online for Gina. So Gina's got photos from the Grand Prix de France and a recap of the event. And for the week ahead, she's got a Cup of China preview coming up.
Now, we're not sure if we're going to keep doing our recap episodes separately. It may change from week to week, depending on which one or how many of us are available. And we do plan to bring more guests on when we can. It's a very crazy time in the figure skating world.
It is indeed, but we'll do our best. And if we have someone, of course, we'll have a separate episode.
But as always, we will see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of This Week in Skating. Remember, you can keep up with us throughout the week by visiting our website at www.thisweekinskating.com. Connect with us on social media for additional updates. You can find us on Twitter at This Week in Skating without the E's, or Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at This Week in Skating. You got a burning question or feedback for Gina, Daphne, or Matteo? Reach out to us via social media or drop us an email at thisweekinskating@gmail.com. And if you're really enjoying the show and want to support us further, consider joining our Patreon community at patreon.com/thisweekinskating. Until next time, have a nice week.